Okay. Hi, Emma. How are you?
Hi, it's good to be with you today. I'm doing well.
Well, thank you for coming on the show. Nice to have you here. So, you're here to talk about your book, The Unlikely Village of Eden. And Eden is your son's name, is that correct?
It's my daughter's
Oh, your
name,
daughter's name.
actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay. You had mentioned your son before we got on, so I wasn't sure. You have two then?
I do. I have two. Yes, we were talking earlier about how my son was homesick this week, and then I have a daughter named Eden as well.
I'm reading through all of this, and I know the book is basically about her and your life with her. Why don't you just tell us a little about her first, and then we'll get into the book a little bit.
My daughter Eden is almost 8 years old, and she has incredible dance moves, which I think she got from my mother. She's a really playful, gregarious kid. She was also born with a rare genetic deletion. And so she is missing a significant amount of DNA, which has impacted her in many ways. She unfortunately lives on a feeding tube. She has a lot of different medical challenges, and she also has severe autism and a lot of really hard pieces connected with that as well. And when we got her diagnosis of this rare genetic deletion, it's so rare that we did not know how this would unfold for her and what her life would be like. And I'm really learning more about who she is and what she needs just as the days unfold.
Wow. No, I've never heard of that. So you said she is missing DNA?
Yeah, it's a deletion. And for people who are really into genetics, it's on the Q arm of the 12th chromosome. And if you're not really into genetics, which I understand, it's enough to know that she is missing a portion of her DNA. It did not encode during conception. It just happened that, and it was a random chance that she did not get all of the DNA coding.
Wow, that's incredible. Now you said that she had incredible dance moves. So she's not tied to a bed, right?
No, she's not bedridden. In fact, she's very, very active. She doesn't really stop moving much. She's on the go, and she has a lot of energy and joy, and and she's a lot of fun.
I guess I'm trying to paint a picture of what her life is like. Is she high performing or does she have difficulty in communications or
She does have significant developmental delays. So she has a different type of brain, and she does talk. We didn't know when we got her diagnosis, would she talk, would she walk, would she learn to tie her shoes. She is walking and she is talking, and she actually can read. Um, and and she's still a lot of things medically are challenging for her, cognitively. She's continuing to make gains and continuing to learn and grow. And for that, we're really grateful. I'm really grateful.
you mentioned a feeding tube. Is does she have difficulty eating normally? She can't eat
Yeah,
normally. Yeah.
she takes all of her calories from a feeding tube. And this is one of the real hard pieces is she was born with her intestines nearly tied in a knot. And so she has motility challenges, which just means she struggles with digestion. And so she's not able to digest food. And so she has to have a special food blend, and she has the medical equipment of a feeding tube. And so that she's on a form of life support still to this day.
Does she go to school or is she at home all the time?
She does go to school, and I actually was just speaking at her school fundraiser today. She goes to an incredible school, and it is a school that blends, it's here in Minnesota, and it blends therapy, one on one therapy, with a classroom education for kids who are neurodivergent. And so she needs to go to a special school. We tried our public schools and they weren't able to accommodate her, which is true for many kids like Eden, where unfortunately public schools don't have all the resources, staffing, and training to be able to work with a kid like mine. So she is at a school that has therapy on site, and she gets to be a part of that.
Before we got on, we were talking about the phrase parenting imperfectly. And there's another phrase that I like, which is life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of in the same realm of what we're talking about. Your book, The Unlikely Village of Eden, is this dealing more with your journey, having her, and what you have
Yes.
had to go through, rather than
Yes,
focusing in on her specific condition?
exactly. And you're getting it completely, that this is a memoir about when life doesn't go to plan. And I've been hearing from early readers that many people can relate to the themes in this book, themes about grief, themes about needing to recalibrate, themes about reinventing your relationships, finding people in your life, losing people. Everything had to be reinvented. My family, my experience with motherhood, my relationship even with myself and my psychotherapy clients, because when you have something so unexpected and so big, it ripples out into every part of life. And so that's the piece that I'm really hearing people relate to. Many people do not have a child with a rare genetic deletion, although there are 53 million caregivers in the United States. So many people know the experience of what it's like to be a caregiver. So there can be a lot of relatability there as well. But I really want to stress that this book is about my journey through grief towards acceptance and connection with other people, with other humans, and how people helped support me through. That's really what it's focused on versus Eden's medical problems specifically.
Once you found out, how did it change your outlook or change the way that you thought about life? Obviously, it would have had a profound effect.
First, I was deep into acute grief, and and it was very shattering for me to hear that everything I thought, the life that I thought my daughter would have, really it wasn't going to be that life. And the way I was delivered the news was really, from the doctors, it was a really heart-wrenching perspective of loss. And so I really felt that loss and moved through that. And over time have been able to come to more acceptance. But I always like to stress that with grief, there is not an endpoint. I'm not like arriving, in a place of enlightenment and total acceptance. Things can still be really hard, and I have to watch my daughter struggle. And so it's not like over for me. And I really wanted to share that in this book. I wrote the book because I really wanted this book when my daughter got her diagnosis, and I didn't feel like this book was there. And so I really wanted to be, deep and raw and real and relatable to people. I'm not offering easy answers. I'm not saying there's a miracle cure, but there is hope in here. There really is. There's hope in the connection and the way that we can help each other through difficult times.
Did you have any change in relationship with your family through this?
So much change. Yeah, so much change. I write in the book about it did rock my marriage, and I feel grateful that we've emerged really strong, and I feel lucky, and we put a lot of work into that. It's definitely changed my relationship with my parents, who have galvanized and been amazing and really shown up for us. And we've actually collected some some people who are family-ish, so like sort of extended family along the way, and have been able to develop some really cool and very unconventional bonds with those people. So it's been very, very life defining and changing for my family.
You mentioned you had a son. Is he older or younger?
Yep, he is older than Eden. Yep.
How did he react?
Well, I think that this has made him kinder and more empathetic. And I think that it's also been very difficult at times as well.
I'm just going to read this one. It says, is your hope that your story will help others feel less alone?
Absolutely. That is my total hope for the story. And in writing it, it helped me feel less alone. And so that's been a really great outcome of this book. And I also hope that I hope that it reaches others, and especially for parents, caregivers, people out there who are feeling isolated. Caregiving can be so isolating because so much of the work is at home and so much of the work is unseen and tucked away. And I really do hope that people find this book and that they can feel connected to that bigger picture, and to feel like, yeah, there are other people out there, because there's so many of us caregivers, and so many people, I would say more people than not, have found themselves in a place where their life did not go to plan in some way.
Do you think that there is a positive outcome for this in terms of your own view of life? Did it change? I mean, is it changing? It's probably an ongoing process.
Yeah. Well, I mean, writing the book has been, for me, a way to organize and to really feel like I have a voice to shape my story, that I got to tell and talk about this and put it out there and be engaged in creativity. I think for anyone who is struggling, being involved in creative projects and feeling like your life matters, those are really essential pieces to getting through. So in that way, yes.
Okay. The book is out now.
It is, and you can get it anywhere you get your books. You can get it in the major retailers. You can get it at the indie stores. You can get it on audiobook. It's absolutely out there.
I see a couple of names on here. Martha Beck, Jenny Lawson, Rosanna Arquette. Did they all write reviews for you?
They did. I was so fortunate to get some really great endorsements on this book.
Well, that's fabulous.
I'm really grateful to those people. And writers have been so awesome. Writers get a bad name for some reason. I think because, we're at home, we're working, whatever. But writers have really shown up for me, and I feel enlivened by that, and that makes me hopeful. Just, I see people have helped me. I can't wait to help others and just be a part of that exchange of helping and being helped. It feels great.
Well, I think on that, Emma, we're going to have to wind this down. Thank you so much for coming on. Last question. Do you have a website you want to give out?
I do. It is emmanadler.com. So it's EMMANADLER.com. And thanks for checking this out.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming on the show. It was nice talking to you. Nice meeting you. Best of luck.
It was really nice meeting you. And thank you so much for having me on.